come from? And where are we going?
Welcome. This is Red Eyes.
Welcome to Red Eyes Creations Radio. My name is Henrik Palmgren and this is Internet Talk Radio, recorded from the west coast of Sweden. You'll find us online at redicecreations.com, where we have a new show for you every Thursday and Sunday, and our entire archive of regular shows is up there for free. And if you like the show, we have a lot more programs available for you in the subscriber section. So take a look at that. Thanks to Kent Daniel Bentkowski, who was with us last week talking about Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. Very good stuff. And for our subscribers, we dived deeper into the global elite. We also talked about the TV series 24 and about nukes going off in the US and much more. So check that out if you missed it. Today we have Alan Watt back with us for his monthly visit, and we'll begin to talk about the origins of socialism and communism, and we'll get into the occult aspects of this apparently atheistic political ideology. What is behind the hammer, the sickle and the star? Stay tuned, lots of good stuff coming up with Alan Watt.
Who are we?
Welcome. Today we have researcher Alan Watt back with us on the line. Alan joins us the last Sunday of each month here on Red Eyes Creations Radio, and we are very proud to have Alan with us. His website is cuttingthroughthematrix.com, where you can follow along with Alan's blurbs and very powerful audio commentary. And I suggest you do check out some of his books, his videos that he got available through his site. Alan is very knowledgeable about history, mythology, fraternal orders, secret societies, and all kinds of movements directing and guiding our world today. So again, with that, let me say welcome back to you, Alan, and thank you so much for taking the time to be here today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, yeah.
It's awesome to have you. I thought we could dive in today to kick things off, talking a little bit about socialism and communism. I heard one of your blurbs where you kind of went into a little bit about the symbology behind the Soviet flag and all of this, and maybe we can dive into that a little bit later on. But to get things going, I guess we could start at the official beginning to kind of unravel some of the knots there. Do you think that Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, are these guys the real founders of communism?
No. We know that Karl Marx was a hack journalist who was kicked out of Germany and brought into Britain to basically write the manifesto. He was so unimportant that for many years his name wasn't even attached to the first couple of editions. So he wasn't the main thrust. He was the person who was told what to put into writing, into a formula really, and a theory, the whole theory of dialectical materialism, and to make it into what seemed to be a science, and that was what it was meant to be. It was to rival existing religions by adopting the same sort of beliefs as religions run on. In other words, the inevitability of what they call progress and the rising of new forms, new ways of living from the lower classes' struggle, supposedly. And as the decadence into the middle and upper classes, then you'd always have this fresh input for a new direction coming from the workers, which was nice on paper but never happened in reality. So it was a pseudo-science which tied in heavily with the writings of Charles Darwin. It was based on the Superman-type theory that through science, through the abandonment of all religions and simply using science, man would somehow fulfill a destiny, which shows you that there was a religious pull to their whole preaching of communism, that there was a destiny there to even fulfill. And that's when they wrote many books. You'll find that all the Freemasonic groups of the day were heavily involved in the revolutions, which predated Karl Marx. You can go back to the English Revolution. That was the first major turn where bankers financed Cromwell to take over England and get what they called democracy on the go established. Second revolution was the American Revolution, and then of course that was followed by the French Revolution.
Yeah.
So Freemasonic literature, even today, openly declares that they have been behind every revolution for the last 500 years.
Regarding Cromwell, what time period are we talking about there?
You're looking into the 1600s.
Okay, yeah.
And Cromwell was financed by bankers from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Who financed his army, the equipment, the armaments, and all of that kind of stuff to change England's system from the feudal society to the next step, which was a form of democracy, even though initially it was all for nobility, really. They swapped their feudal system and gave themselves a parliament, you might say.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we could tie this into, I guess, William of Orange and the bank system coming out of the Netherlands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was heavily involved. And as I say, to be on the go much earlier, you'll find that with even the writings of More with his Utopia. He wrote Utopia about the same time, or just before, Francis Bacon wrote his New Atlantis.
Yeah.
They're very, very similar because they were both Freemasonic writings or Rosicrucian writings. And they talked about a future world where everything would be in its place and everything would have its place, run on a form of science with lawyers at the top as well, administering the justice to the people. But basically science would lead the way out of the darkness of religion.
Yeah.
So from the 1500s onwards, you might say, you can see the start of this. And by New Atlantis, they meant the Americas.
Yeah.
That's what they meant by the New Atlantis.
That's an interesting idea. I want to return to that a little bit later also maybe, but regarding the, I guess, revolutionary movements, one theme I guess is running throughout all of this is the tie-in with the Promethean character. Isn't this right? This, of course, is a statue that is, I guess, outside of the Rockefeller Plaza, or what is it, in New York there, where this is basically the god who stole the fire from the other gods, right? That's right, fire from heaven. Yeah. Meaning intellect. And there's a good poem out there by Shelley on Prometheus, is well done. And Prometheus, again, in the later religions, became Satan. It's the same hidden meaning behind all the religions. In fact, they're all the same story. So Prometheus took light, intellect, to the world of darkness and gave it to man. Yeah. So he's the rebel who defines the overlord, I guess. Yes. Yeah. and again, the revolutionary idea then is to kind of always rebel against the authority, to kind of, I guess that they see it in the way that they are trying to rearrange the current paradigm by actually having people rebel or go in revolution, I guess. Yes. Yeah. The whole idea of the mystery religions is to bring order out of chaos. Yeah. And they perceive a world where everyone does their own thing as chaos, as chaotic. They want a world run by science, where science dictates to the people, and the people follow and do what they're told. Yeah. But this has been like that for at least 500 years. And we see it today where on all television programs across the globe, even on regular little newscasts, they always bring experts on to tell you what to do about this, that, or the other.
you don't have to think for yourself because they're there to do it all for you.
Sure, yeah.
And that is what Bertrand Russell, or Lord, he was a British Lord,
yeah.
Hereditary Lord too, said, it says, we're creating a world where the people will be unable to decide anything for themselves. They'll simply follow the experts. And that's the world, the utopia they're talking about. That's what they mean by order.
Yeah.
It's a planned future. Yeah.
We mentioned earlier, regarding the English Revolution. Do you know anything about Guy Fawkes?
Oh, Guy Fawkes, yeah. Well, Guy Fawkes supposedly was brought in, and many think at the time, because of the chaos that was reigning when James the First of England came in.
Mm-hmm.
He was already the sixth of Scotland, but the first for England. He needed an excuse to get taxpayers' money to build his armies up. He couldn't find them. And it was lucky that Guy Fawkes had been brought in on behalf of some of the Catholics, and it's thought it was an early Jesuit training that he had. And somehow or another, they did catch him red-handed. He planted gunpowder underneath the Parliament building.
Yeah. And
so James became the victor there, and suddenly was a hero, and he got all the tax money that he wanted, etc.
So, do you know if this is related to the huge London fire that was raining in? I think it wasn't it 1666? This was, right?
Yeah, that's right. You always have 360s in major events.
Yeah.
What's interesting too, that at that time, Sir Christopher Wren and other architects who were also Rosicrucians, very high-level Rosicrucians, just happened to have a new plan of London all drafted up.
Yeah.
With new buildings. And of course that would have lain idle if they didn't have the fire, so it was very fortunate they had the fire to fulfill their dreams of rebuilding London, an international city.
Yeah. It's an amazing day. It's so obvious. You almost bypass that event sometimes. It feels like. I mean, it's amazing. And again, we can, I guess, tie this into the fire worship of Prometheus, and the idea of the sun worship, or the fire that changes society to bring forth this new order. Do you know if there are in other cities and so forth, there are major, astronomical alignments going on, and there are city plannings and all of this. Do you know any of that going on in London, the city of London?
I'm sure it will be, because these guys love it. They never change their methods. They always stick to the same methods. And sure enough, I mean, you'll find that the major cities along the eastern U.S. seaboard, if you line them up, the major ones all go in a straight line across the curve of the globe, all the way back to Stonehenge. For instance, that's no coincidence. They love to. You see, in the ancient times, in ancient Egypt, there were the stellar cults who studied the stars and the movements of stars, and you had the sun ones who watched the solar movements and the moon, etc. And they already had it all mapped. They knew when eclipses would come. They knew that the Earth was round. They knew that the Earth traveled around the sun in ancient times. And they loved to. What they said in the Egyptian writings is that they would bring heaven to earth. They'd amalgamate the two. And so what they did was they would build their big temples